Let's make a super easy, super fast Mongolian soy curls. I know what you're thinking. It's supposed to be Mongolian beef, but we don't do beef, so it's going to be soy curls. And we're using Butler soy curls, which are a phenomenal meat replacement. We use them a few times. I have a couple bags of them, and I'm starting to really discover how amazing they are. But to get started with them, we're going to be using 100 grams, which is about 4 ounces, of the Butler soy curls. And I'm just going to add water. This is just plain old water, lukewarm. So it's not like hot or anything. No flavorants added, nothing. Just water. Gotta hydrate them, that is the idea. Let this sit for 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want to spill it though.
We're just gonna sit here and watch it.
Yeah, we're just gonna watch it.
I'm joking.
Gonna make this video really, really long. Because they're hydrating, the next step is a sauce. So for that, I'm gonna use my NutriBullet. If you don't have one, we'll have a link in the description. I love mine, I think it's awesome. So for that, we're going to be adding some stuff.
Ginger.
I have ginger right in front of me, so I'm going to use that first. By the way, a trick to ginger, we keep ours frozen. We just, as soon as we get it, we clean it off a little bit at home and then throw it in a freezer safe bag and just keep it in the freezer. And that way, this ginger is months old because, you know, who uses that much ginger that you're going to go through the whole hand of it in one shot, right?
It's also super easy to grate when it's frozen as well, which makes it so convenient.
And I'm just chopping this up into smaller pieces just to give the blender a little bit of an easier time. It's not absolutely necessary, but, you know, be nice to your blender.
This is roughly an ounce of ginger.
Yeah, an ounce. Okay, next.
Is pitted dates. You want to give your dates a little squeeze because sometimes, even though the bag says they're pitted, they actually aren't.
Why are you putting them there? I was just going to dump them in.
I thought you were going to pre-chop.
Oh, I'm going to chop them. That's right. We've tested this a couple times, and I didn't chop the dates, and I had chunky dates at the end, so I kind of want to just give them a rough chop. Now, here's the thing. This sauce normally would have brown sugar in it, and here's the funny thing. It's not Mongolian in any way. I'll just admit that. It's probably not even Asian, but this is the way everybody was making Mongolian beef that I looked online. So this is how we're going to do it too. But they use brown sugar. And I said, you know, I don't really want to use brown sugar. I'd rather use something that has a little more nutrient capacity to it.
And fiber.
And fiber. And that's what I was thinking is the dates, they add sweetness and it's almost reminiscent of a brown sugar kind of deal, but they add a ton of fiber. So I thought, let's use dates. But there's something else that adds to the sweetness too.
Next up is garlic, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons.
And I'm actually doing 3 tablespoons because I wrote 2 in the original recipe and then changed it to 3 just this morning because I thought, you know, I think it needs more garlic.
We're garlicky people.
Yep. Well, this is a garlicky type of dish. It should be garlicky. It's supposed to be.
Do you have a preference of what comes next? You want
We could do liquids.
liquids? Okay. So we are going to do some liquid smoke.
How much?
1 teaspoon.
I'm going to eyeball it. Not technically necessary, but it does add a nice smoky flavor, you know? Because when they do the Mongolian style cooking, it's over a grill with an open flame, and it's just, yeah, you want the smoke. Next.
And to go along with our brown sugar replacement, we're going to add molasses. 2 tablespoons.
This is just plain old unsulfured molasses. Someone asked if we use blackstrap. It's just grandma's, the stuff that I found on the shelf. There was all of one choice of molasses.
That was our choice.
Yeah, 2 tablespoons, you said?
Yeah.
And again, gonna eyeball that. A little more, a little less, doesn't kill you. It's fine. But it does add that like irony kind of rich flavor that you really want in this sauce.
Speaking of rich flavor, next up is soy sauce.
How much soy sauce?
1/4 cup.
Okay, so it's 4 tablespoons, 1/4 cup, however you want to see it. I know it's a lot of soy sauce, but you know what? Asian cooking is a little on the soy heavy side.
Yeah,
so.
and we're not adding any additional salt.
Oh, yeah,
So this is
anything.
our salt replacement.
Get every drop though. You paid for that soy sauce.
You got a spatula here if you need.
No, it's good.
You good?
I'm
You
good.
sure?
I'm
You good?
I'm good.
All right. Water is 1/4 to 1/2 cup. I have measured a 1/2 cup out.
I'm going to do half of it. And then as we blend, if it's not blending properly, I'll add a little bit more water. If you put too much water in, what's going to happen is later on, it'll be too loose when you try to cook with this.
Speaking of too loose, we're going to add our thickening agent, which is cornstarch. This is 1.5 tablespoons roughly of cornstarch. Do you want to use the...
I want to use the... Yep. Got to get all your cornstarch. It sticks. You know, we're in Florida. Humidity's a thing. Now, I want to put the blade on this. And the blender's over there. So I'm just going to take it over there and blend this up. I just run it through one cycle, which I guess is about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and then see how it's doing. Now, before I do this, one of my secrets with the NutriBullet, see how everything's all on the bottom? Give it a really good shake. And try to mix that molasses in before you even start blending.
I just washed it, so there's a little bit of residual moisture.
I was wondering if that was leaking or, yeah.
So when you start shaking, I was like, ah!
Yeah. No, it's just residual. Okay.
Just moisture, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go blend this, be right back. All right, our sauce is done. And see how it's nice and liquidy? Hopefully you can see that, yeah. I think that's about perfect. I don't want to add any more liquid. If I do need to add liquid, I'll add it in the pan in a few minutes. So let's just set that to the side, let it kind of drain down. Because something I want to do is get our garnish ready. And for that, I just have 3 green onions. Now, are you gonna try to grow these ends?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Derica likes to grow more scallions from the scallions. So what do you need, about 1 inch?
Yeah.
Just cut, leave that much at the end. And she has videos on how to grow these, actually. So I'm just going to set them to the side. And I don't really do anything fancy. I'm going to do a slight bias cut. And it's thin, like 1/8 of an inch or so, for the thicker parts, the white parts. And as they get more green, I go a little longer. You don't have to get fancy. It adds a nice flavor, but it is technically just a garnish. And, you know, nobody likes the nasty bits of these things. So they go into the compost / broth bowl. Depends on the day. Sometimes it's for broth, sometimes it's for compost. And just to get these out of my way, I'm just gonna put these in a bowl. Okay, so our soy curls have been hydrating for several minutes. They feel good. You wanna, give them a little squeeze. They're not Charmin. You can squeeze them. If they need more time, give them more time, but they should be like relatively squishy. All right, what I'm gonna do though is dump the water out, dump it through a strainer. That way I can keep the soy curls. Be right back. So one thing when you're using soy curls that I never used to do that I've recently learned is actually really, really important. And that is to squeeze out all that water. Now I just drained them. I didn't squeeze them. And in the past, I never did this. And we started doing it recently. And wow, what a difference. They come out so much better, much, much better texture. And I think it even improves the flavor because you might be getting some of that cereal-y kind of thing out of them. And
because we knew we were going to squeeze out all that liquid, that's why we just used water rather than a seasoned mixture, because you're getting rid of it basically anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a waste. You just want to give them a good squeeze. I mean, I'm not super critical of it, but you can see there's like a 1/4 cup of liquid that came out of these, and they feel pretty dry now. Okay, so I want to talk about soy curls just a little bit. There's a common misconception that they're actually more like textured vegetable protein. They're not. I used to think that too. TVP is an extruded byproduct of another process where soy curls are actually made from whole soy. So that way they're really considered a whole food by most people. They're processed, but they're still considered a whole food because all the soybeans in there. TVP is usually defatted, so it doesn't have some of the nutrients that are already in the soy. That's why there's a little bit more fat in soy curls than there is in TVP, but they're really, really good. And you can actually make TVP from soy curls. Just save the bottom of the bag, and you get 4 or 5 bags. You can have like little crumbs, throw them in the food processor, or blend it down a little bit, and you got TVP. But anyway, it's time for me to wash my hand and go over to the stove. One thing we like to do is have steamed broccoli with this. So I have my bamboo steamer filled with some broccoli, and I'm just gonna place that over some boiling water. The broccoli takes about 8 to 10 minutes to steam, and I have a pan on medium to medium high heat. I'm gonna drop our soy curls right into that pan. Should hear the sizzle. Wanna move them around in the pan. We're drying them out a little bit, maybe adding a little bit of a crispy edge, but not too much at this point. Also, we serve this over rice. So I have white rice cooking. You can use the grain of your choice, brown rice, white rice. You can even use barley or wheat pearls or anything that you like. Doesn't really matter. They're all good. Okay, so now we have our sauce. I'm just gonna pour that right into the pan. See, you still get a little bit of chunky dates at the bottom, and that's okay. Make sure to get every drop out of that container. And then we wanna mix this through. what's going to happen is the cornstarch in there is going to thicken it up. But I don't need the heat quite that high. I'm going to turn the heat all the way down to low. Just mix it through. Smells pretty amazing. We do not want that sauce to burn. So you see some areas that are getting a little darker. Just want to hit them with a little bit of liquid. This is where it's good to have some water on hand just in case it gets too hot or it dries too quickly. Just keep it moving a little bit. Make sure everything gets coated. You want to make sure all those soy curls are covered in sauce. And I like it to be a little on the saucy side. See, there's a little bit of extra sauce compared to what we actually have for soy curls. That's perfect. And now I'm just going to turn that heat completely off because we're basically ready to plate as soon as the broccoli's done. Time has come to taste it. Now, we did put the scallions on it, and we did sprinkle a little bit of flaxseed on top. Got to get those omega-3s. But you can use sesame seeds in addition or instead of, if you wanted to. Nice and saucy. Get a little rice. Get a little scallion. Blows my mind every time we make something like this, how easy this is. I mean, what was it? Half an hour start to finish?
It took more time to steam the broccoli.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. And this is just very filling, very hearty. All those flavors in the sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Are
That
what
sauce
makes this
does not disappoint. Now, you can change this up. You can do a different grain. You can do a different veg. And it could be a completely different meal.
You can change up the sauce, too. I actually really like it the way it is. And with the number of dates we used, it's not too sugar heavy.
Yeah.
Plus, you're adding a lot of fiber when you add dates like that. Way, way better than using brown sugar.
So if you're hunkering for something delicious and quick, try out our Mongolian soy curls.
Let's talk storage options. I don't know that I'd want to put this in the fridge. I mean, you can. It's not going to go bad. It might, it might be like a stew. It might be better the next day. I don't really know. But heating it up is going to be a little complicated. You're going to want to put it into a pan with a little bit of water and mix that through again. It might make the sauce a little bit different, but it should be okay. The rice, obviously, you can refrigerate rice and reheat rice. You know that already. And you can put a side of whatever veggies you like. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on The Bistro.